So we've been talking a lot about like mentorship and things like that. And so I was talking to my client yesterday, and he posed a question, and it was about the prior to getting mentorship, right? Like as a black man, if you didn't grow up in a household with positive male role models, you didn't go to college, you didn't play sports, you didn't join a fraternity or join the military, where do you go as a black man to find your community?
That's a good question.
It was hard for me because even though like growing up, long story short, my father was like a kingpin drug dealer where I was from, so he ended up going to prison. And me and my grandfather were really never close. I only had my grandfather on my mother's side, so I didn't really feel like I had a lot of male figures because on my mom's side, I was the first male born in 45 years. Everybody had children, had 2 girls, so I was really born into a family of all women. And so growing up, I knew how to relate to women. I could go into any room, even any room in this city, and talk to any woman with no problem. But you sit me in a room, just me and another guy, and it would be the most difficult thing for me. And so I never really understood or knew where to find it until I got to college, and I had a really good roommate, probably the best roommate I had, and he saw that, I kind of struggled with that. So when he was like, yo, I'm about to go to the caf, come to the caf, well, no, I'm good. He was like, no, you coming to the caf. So he kind of dragged me along with him because he saw something. He was like, see, he never said it, but I could tell, you could see that I had a struggle with that. And so college for me was that shift where I began to like have male friends. But without college, I really don't know if I ever would have developed any type of relationship with male as far as the friendship level, because I didn't get in high school because I was so used to being around women. Like I just was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay with the girls, and y'all gonna do, I'm over here. And so the only relationship I had with males in high school was that I was the guy that knew all the girls. So any guy wanted to holler at a girl in school. And then it was crazy because I knew the girls at my school, I knew the girls at all the other schools. So it was like, I want to find the old girl to go to this school. You know her? I was like, yeah, I know her. And they were like, you think she'll holler? And I was like, well, listen, I was like, hey, Serge wants to talk to her. She'd be like, nah, I before Tinder. So yeah, I was that guy. So unless it involved a guy going to holler at a girl, like I had really no male friends growing up. So until I got to college, and it was like that's when my shift came. So I was very thankful for my first roommate for making me go places with him. And after that, I got involved in some organizations on campus to help me out with. But that's
really where the question comes from. Is like after all of that happened, because I feel as men, right? I use this analogy. We're like a loaf of bread. Put us in the oven, bake us on 350. We in there for 20 minutes, right? You take us out, you put us on the counter. You got 2 options. You either eat us right now, or like you go with the analogy. You slice the bread, right? And you only have about a week before it goes stale, right? And after it goes stale, it hardens and you have to throw it away. And as men, like by the time we're like 21 and 25, we're solidified with our friend group. And we don't network really like that. I see you, I'm like, what's up? Hey Rick, I met you here. And that's as far as the conversation gonna go.
So does anybody else feel that way? Like, do you feel like the friends that you started to get around 2025 is kind of your solid for now?
So friends and support groups, in any capacity, I'm kind of assertive with what I want. So fundamentally, whatever I put out there in the universe, what I'm going to get. But I have to be very, very careful on how I put it out there. I have to be very, very specific because, like, if you plant a seed, you're not getting a seed back. Whatever you sow, you reap. But they missed the part. You get back a lot. So if you plant a seed, you get a lot of apples or whatever it may be. So if I want masculine energy around me, I have to be very specific in saying I want positive masculine energy around me. However you pray, meditate, whatever you do, put that energy out there. And it'll come to you. Don't get me wrong, though, you gotta put in that work. So like that's why I guess prior when we were speaking before, I've had a lot of fathers, if you want to say that, and if they were to the essence of a father, it's probably brothers. So I've had spiritual fathers, I had physical fathers, I had very, emotional fathers and stuff like that. That kind of just look at it this way, look at it that way, things like that. So in terms of finding mentorship or support groups, I just was out there. I said it, I prayed on it, or I just kept thinking about it in a positive aspect. I just kept searching.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't go to that church, but they got a youth council in there. Let me go in there. Yeah, it's gonna be uncomfortable. I might not say nothing, but let me go in there and see what's going on up in there. You know, or take notice to the guy that always opens the door and he says, "You're welcome, young man." Something
Who is
special
that?
about it.
Yeah.
So I guess it also goes into you're having to, and it's hard because it's like, damn, who's who? You gotta identify a person's spirit very quickly and be like, okay, this is somebody I can gain something from. Even if it's him opening the door for me and him saying, "You're welcome, young man," take something from him. You know, and that's how I just been able to kind of navigate. Like him, that young man asking you, or
No, this is actually an older gentleman. He's 40.
Wow.
That's even great. I mean,
Wow.
that says a lot because a lot of men would be like, all right, like you said, I've reached this stage, and maturity is never with the age. It's actually, you know, a level of experience and wisdom, knowledge, understanding, understanding that you put together and you say, I'm mature, and it never stops. But damn, that's a curveball right there.
And so that's what I've experienced, like, you know, as being a barber, right? I talk to so many different guys from so many different walks of life, and a common thread is like, you know, they have their friend circles, and for the ones that don't, where do they fall? Like, who they going to talk to if it's not a therapist and things like that? And a lot of us aren't doing that, so
Yeah, so similar to what Patrick says, you call me so off with the 40-year-old.
Yeah.
But so now I would switch it from the teenager to whoever. From my experience, now, you know, this, everybody has a different opinion on it. For me, I know prayer is real just based off of my experiences. Away from what my parents taught me, away from what I learned in church, I know prayer is real, and then you said putting things out there and being specific. I've seen it in my own life that the things that I envisioned and I prayed on, God gave it to me, right? So, in my opinion, I feel someone from 15 to 40 or 50 or whatever to go out and, I'm telling you, like, God will put you in a position to develop those skills and abilities, or put you in situations like this to make it happen. But for those people, I say, once you gain that confidence and courage, the thing is to be bold enough to put yourself out there. And that moment when you feel vulnerable, we all know, as like approaching women, when you're a teenager, it's the scariest thing in the world. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So, not like that. No, what I'm saying
is one of the scariest things in the world. Y'all trying to approach us like
That's why.
Because I'd be single forever if I had to go up to any of y'all and be like, hey, what's up?
So that person who didn't grow up with a dad, or their dad isn't the greatest role model, or the men around them aren't people that they want to be around, is you gotta identify that person that you really admire, put yourself out there, just put yourself in the mix, and I say God is gonna let it happen. You put that effort, and God is gonna bring it back. Everybody has a different take on what they want to call it, but for me, I've seen it in different things that I wanted to do in life. Whether it's away from getting like a male figure for guidance, let's say it's a male figure or somebody for something else. When I prayed on, like, I hope this door opens, or I'm able to meet somebody who could teach me something that my dad or uncles couldn't teach me.
Yeah.
It happens, and I feel for the people who don't have that, that's the best thing to do. When you feel vulnerable, like, stay strong in that vulnerability, but then when you get through it, like, it's almost like you can't unlearn what you know.
So I just want to jump and say, like, the real problem is we don't have organizations for black men, or we don't have enough.
I believe that.
We don't have enough of these conversations.
Yeah.
And so, like, I believe it's our responsibility, these black men here, I feel like we're the talented 10, to go out and start organizations.
I love that.
That's what we gonna call it.
We can make it
No,
work. Talented
Talented 10 is from Du Bois, and he talks about the smartest and brightest in the black community going out to get the resources and then bringing them back into the black community to establish a stronger black community. But what happened was the strong ones went out and stayed out.
Yeah.
Because, propaganda and everything. But anyway, so what I'm saying is that we need to, as black people, black strong men, we need to start these organizations. This is why I said earlier, my passion is about elevating the male frequency, having these conversations. Because similar to you all, I'm doing my own web series, and we are talking about like masculinity next week. So creating those conversations, and so I answered my client. I was like, brother, don't worry, I'm building Khadijah, and Khadijah will be that space where that you could come in and network and feel comfortable and meet guys your age and younger and if not older, where you can have conversations, where you can develop mentorship, where you can develop fellowship and things like that. And so that's what we have to do, because for black women, you guys are doing that in numbers and I love it. We now have to be strong and realize like we got to learn from them.
Whoa, okay. Alright. That was great.
I look at like the scope of like when I was a kid, and then like I project like where I am now. Even when I'm 40 years old, I'm still like sitting in your barber chair. As a 40-year-old, you feel me? Like when I'm a kid and you pull up to me, you can pull up to me on the basketball court and be like, "Yo, you trying to play ball?" You became my friend.
Yes.
I don't care. Every time I see you, what you got? As kids, we're so open and optimistic of like potential of relationships and friendships that we don't care. Like we don't know anything about energy, bad energy, good energy, or who wishes us well. We don't know danger. We know danger, but we don't identify it in somebody who we don't identify it as we would as an adult. And so. So when I have friends who knew me from that vulnerable state and they make it into my adulthood without being cut off, those people are ingrained in that circle. But now as this adult, where I'm aware that there's people out there who literally their only job is to fuck up my energy. Like that's the only reason why some people come into your life is just to try to
straight trolls.
I don't care if you're comfortable. Like I'm not uncomfortable. Or just capitalize on your potential. They may look at you in your eyes like, yeah, he going somewhere, and try to jump on your back and be like, now you gotta carry me with you. And so as adults, we go into networking spots and we shake hands with people who be like, oh yeah, I'm doing this project. You be like, nah, you just a leech. You're just trying to feed off people. You think with this mindset because you're trying to protect your creative project, you're trying to protect your peace, you're trying to protect your energy. So it's like as a 40-year-old, it's hard as fuck because you know how fucking fucked up this world could be.
Right, it's true.
How much just people are evil. I was on a train one time, right? And this dude, how when the train is crowded, and oh my god, and then somebody try to get on when there's clearly another train coming, but you force your way on. So I was fortunate enough to have a seat, right? So I was sitting down and I watched this gentleman. He gets on, he pushes his way on. The black dude, he gets pushed. He looks back, he starts to argue with the guy who pushed him. They're arguing back and forth, and now the Spanish guy, he's like, the Spanish guy was the guy who pushed his way onto the car. So the black guy, he's like, yelling at him, and the Spanish dude is like, now he's at wit's end, he dropped his bag, he's on some and the black dude said, just like that, you let me take over your whole day. Like, I control you now.
Wow.
And that clicked in my head, I'm like, so that was your only, like you antagonized that intentionally with the mindset that I'm going to take control over your day right now. And he told them that. And that's what I knew. I was like, there's people out there that's their only job.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing I have to look forward to. So as an adult, you have to protect yourself, and it's tough. I can't even imagine how it's gonna be when I'm 40. Right now, it's tough. It was tough for me to like shake hands with y'all. Like I had to, and learn y'all names. It's just like after this day, after I walk out of there, after this podcast ends, it's like I don't know if y'all really fuck with me. Right. I don't know if y'all really gonna hold me down. I don't know if y'all
I got that shit to you, son. Do I need another friend?
I don't care about
That's what it is.
It's funny how you get older, you want to protect. And when you're younger, you want to just collaborate all the time, but...
Can I just interject?
Yeah.
That was really great. All you guys are amazing. But I want to go into social media.
Okay.
We did the same thing with the girls, in terms of like seeing certain stuff on social media that affects like their well-being, just themselves. Like on a daily basis, sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna delete the app just so I won't look at it, and then I'm like, you know what? I can access it through my computer. And like we limit certain stuff we follow, because you know what you do see, like you ingest it, and it
Correct.
just affects you. It could affect your day, it could affect your life, and yeah. So like on social media, how does it affect you in certain ways? Like I'm not gonna go too specific,
I
but
could
yeah,
speak to that.
especially because you're on social media
Yeah,
all the time.
I'm like, I got like 5 platforms, like big followings. I'm always on social media all the time. And I say there's a spectrum of like the way things affect me. Like there's a way things affect me as a black man. Like I don't want to see a video of a black man getting gunned down. Like I tell people all the time, don't post that shit. I don't want to see that shit, right? Because when I see that, it's like I see myself, I see my brother, I see you guys in the room. So I never want to see that. Like that's like the most visceral thing I never want to see on the internet. I don't want to see someone who looks like me, who has a similar experience to me growing up, get shot for any reason, or get killed, or any type of thing like that. That being said, that doesn't mean be ignorant to it, of course.
Right.
Then on like the other end of the spectrum, there's just kind of like, you know, there's always messaging coming in. There's always, you know, when we're younger, we kind of look to like, you know, artists, rappers, like that's where we get like a lot of our lingo, that's where we get our style from. Like you look at Chris Brown had the blonde patch, and then now everybody, you know what I'm saying? And like, it's a debate about who did it first and whatnot, but we see that happens a lot. And that, I feel like as we get older, it's not as challenging to decide like, do I want to follow that flow, that wave, or whatever? Do I want to follow my own thing? When we're younger, that really influences who we become, right? Like, and I feel like for black men in particular, we like kind of like what you were saying, like this chase the bag mentality. That's something like, you know, we all have friends who like they want to look like they got it going on more than they have it going on, right? Internally, like especially like, so I shoot a lot of parties and things like that, especially with like celebrities and stuff. And like you see dudes are like same dudes every weekend, like pulling up. Like you can see they like if they charge the door, they're not gonna get in, but they got Gucci belt on. You know what I'm saying? Balenciaga shoes, whatever. And it's like every now and then I just want to be like, yo, bro, like is this really your way? And you know where we get it from? We get it from everything coming in, right? And I feel like and just to kind of bring it back full circle, like my politics and like how I see the world is like I'm always trying to uplift black people, and I want black people to liberate themselves. And in terms of at the individual level and also like collectively, right? You can't do that as long as you're letting other people determine like how you're gonna express yourself to the world. And we're constantly letting other people determine how we're gonna be seen, like from whether it be making yourself small as a black man and like lightening your voice and like trying to seem less threatening to like any person, to literally changing the way in which like you present yourself to people.
Right.
Like, and so I think like a lot of that is like really being able to discern what am I taking in from like media messaging? What am I taking in? What are my friends taking in when we talk about energy? And like how am I gonna like how can I best like keep out what stays out and put in the good, take out, keep out the bad. Because it's like that's just like something I think we all still figuring out. But,
Yeah. With me, social media, I do my best to look. When I first joined Instagram a few years back, anybody I knew, I would follow. And then you have men and women, black, white, Latin, whatever. You know, in this room, we're at that age where we looking for the person that we hopefully want to spend the rest of our lives with or start families with. And if I see guys or girls always saying men ain't this, woman ain't this, I believe that's energy that we're allowing to go into like our mind, right? So I do my best to like filter that out, similar to you, with seeing black men or women get killed consistently, or like stereotypes of us. Like even it annoys me because I don't think it exists. We were that, but like the New York dudes with the Timbs, none of us had Timbs, Yankee fitteds, or so even when I I know with the internet, the entire world sees it, right? Yeah. So we know that not everybody in New York wears the pants down to the ankles with the Timbs and looks like they might stick up whoever. So when I see a lot of that, I try to filter that out. And also just like the stereotypes of black people. Yes, there are black people that are what we see on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But when I see too much of it from any like blog or any particular person, and then when I look at their page, I'm like, this is really how you think. Because to me, I believe our social media is like our television network. We put out what you post is what is you believe.
Perception is reality.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's I'm your viewer, and a lot of people, if what they're putting out is garbage, I just don't want to see it. So because I know it affects me. If I see someone showing little kids fighting and they're 25, they're 30, that person is not a person that, like, I feel like if you're fine enough to, if you think that it's okay to put that on your television network, your social media, your television network, that means that certain things in your mind that I don't want to connect with regularly if we were to link like this.
Right.
I feel like regarding social media, because I'm the type of person like everyone else has been saying, where I look to uplift, especially the younger generation, the generation following us. I feel like regarding social media, our generation, the millennial generation, can take in more of the positives and the benefits that come with that. But I more so worry about the following generation. What they call them, the Z.
What is it?
Generation Z.
Yeah.
I'm more so worried about the Z generation when these are kids who are accustomed to this, and this is what they're more so born into. I feel like with us, we weren't necessarily born into that. We can kind of recall times before this really popped off. I feel like with social media, I feel like our generation, the millennial generation, we're more so mature enough to detect the benefits more so of social media and utilize it for our own personal well-being, as well as seeing the negative side of it. But I feel like the generation following us, the Z generation, I feel like since they're more so coming from a position where this is what they're accustomed to.
I know, they're sucked in.
Yeah, so it's just like they feel like this is what they view as life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I feel, and it creates a sense of, I feel like a high sense of, especially because I've worked with these young, the next generation after us. I see a high sense of materialism and a high sense of just the instant gratification and a high sense of desensitization.
Yeah.
And I feel like they don't have people more so in their corners telling them this is BS. It's good, like with anything, there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
But we have to teach the younger generation that not everything is beneficial for them.
I would say, to speak to what you said about the facade of it all, is that I had to explain that to one of my younger brothers, because he was like, oh, I follow such on Instagram, they always got this on, they always got this on, they always got Gucci. I was like, listen, what you don't understand is there's a stylist system, pulled all them clothes, half of them probably bought, they didn't pay for it.
We know.
As soon as they take their picture, someone got a Febreze or do what they got to do. Right there in the store, we retag it every time. I say all of that is not real. What you see when you see those pictures in magazines, they're not real. The clothes are not theirs. Their skin has been retouched. None of that is real, what you see. So don't see a picture and want to base your life on what this celebrity is putting out there, because that's not really them. There, I say at some point, some celebrities are products. So that is a product you see, that is a brand, that's not the person. So don't get sucked into that. So it's just, I really feel bad, because like you were saying, I remember a time where we played outside, we rode bikes. Then internet came along, then we did internet, but now you don't, even from the South where I'm from, you don't see kids outside riding bikes. You don't see kids in fields playing football, playing kickball, or playing baseball. You don't see those things anymore, because everyone is in the house. They're sucked into social media, they're sucked into internet, or they're playing some type of game system. No one really interacts with people like that.
Like people, I've seen kids who they feel more comfortable texting someone next to them as opposed to talking to them. And they put in the time to wait for that message to get through.
It's so true.
And if the connection ain't working, and it's taking a minute for the message to go through, they just won't say nothing.
And I was going to add, like, to create, like, to ground all that, like, and how it's affecting. When we look at the data, and like, particularly like young black boys of color, like suicide rates are way higher than they are for other racial ethnicities. Like, and what does that mean? That means that they're not getting the attention they need, right? Usually in households, because we know how it all can be if you're a single parent household, parents at work. So now, like, and before you go outside, you go play, so you go play ball, you go do whatever, then you come back in, and like, you left with the sense of like, I'm just like that person I just saw. But now on the internet, they see us, they see everyone we're always showing our best selves, right?
Right.
And,
Highlight reel.
You know what I'm saying? Right, highlight reel. And they're looking at it like, I don't look like this, none of that is me. They might not even think that can be them. And that puts people, in the immediate state of depression, an immediate state. And you know how that goes, what happens when you're depressed. You turn to stuff that you probably wouldn't turn to if you was in a better state of mind, right? And then when you're young, it's one thing if you're like 18, 19 going through that, because you have a greater sense of independence where you can sort through it as an individual. But when you're underage, right, and then you're going to school, you might be getting bullied, whatnot. It's really toxic for kids. So I think it's a really good thing that we're talking about that. If not, it's real.
So we're gonna transition into our last topic, and that is fearless. And the whole reason why we decided to use that word specifically is because I think, especially with society, we are so scared to do things that are within our purpose, or outside of the box, or outside of our comfort zone. And with men, I think you guys have so many titles, from being the protector, being the provider, being strong, that it can be very hard for you guys to step out of your comfort zone if it means taking a lower pay grade to hopefully get higher later, or you have family to provide and things like that. So I just want to I want to understand your take on that. Do you guys think it's more important? Well, first I want to ask, does anybody have kids or families or are newly engaged?
I just got engaged last month.
Big up, big up. Yes.
I've been engaged for over a year.
Yes. So with that, that means that whether your purpose, whatever aligns with you, may have a little, you may feel a little indifferent about going towards whatever your purpose is, because now you have a family to provide for. So let's start with Simeon, what is your take on that now with school and things like that, and then thinking of your fiance and then your potential kids? How does that go for you?
I mean, the key word is just prioritizing. Like as you said, there's a different sense of responsibility that comes to you, that naturally comes to a man once you embark on that journey to take the next step in life. You have to come to that realization that you can't necessarily think about yourself anymore. You have to more so, I feel like you have to personally do. You have to just. I don't like to think of the word sacrifice. I don't like to use the word sacrifice more necessarily, because I feel like that could be a synonym for settling.
Right.
But I feel like you have to just really amp up your focus. And I feel like you have to amp up that focus, because if you want to get what you want, you have to go for it regardless, and you don't want to live life with regret. And I feel like, particularly, not to throw shade at prior generation, I feel like a lot of prior generations, they put that mindset of, settling because you're taking that next step, and they have a lot of, I wish I did that. I wish I did this mentality decades down the road, and they input that. They try to really put that on us, the next generation. But we're not about that. We're about more so, we're also achieving what we're passionate about. So I feel like you have to really just prioritize and realize we're all capable of multitasking. You gotta really. You're never put in situations. God never puts you in situations you can't handle. So you gotta really just. It's gonna be stressful, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right.
And do it as soon as possible, because women definitely be over the back talking about.
But you already know that, though.
I'll start by saying, I feel super fortunate that I have been blessed with a partner who is understanding and who's always down to plan and call an audible when necessary. It's like I don't feel like I gotta sacrifice, or I don't feel like I'm being a burden, because it's always a conversation. People say communication is key, but what they don't say is like communication thoroughly. Like saying, this is what I don't like, this is what I will accept, this is what I won't accept. And stating that and then standing by it, and then hopefully you have a partner who's gonna be like, I respect that.
Right.
I respect that, all right, let's move like this then. And so we move accordingly. So I don't feel pressure to be like, all right, we gotta do this fast, we gotta have this kid, we gotta get this house, we gotta buy this house.
Right.
She tells me her goals, I tell her my goals, and we see how we can come together and be like, all right, I'm gonna help you do this. This is what we come together at, this is what we collaborate at. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer the question of like what it is to be like with these different elements of responsibility. It's just come so elegantly. Like she come, well not elegantly, but like naturally. Well, like she will cook. Like I know I gotta go in there and do the dishes. Like it's just natural, you know. Like it doesn't. It's not like, can you do the fucking dishes? Sometimes she can be doing it. It's like. But other than that, it's like it's pretty natural. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm fortunate, so I don't know if I can really answer the question about being fearless, because she's super understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree that it's good to have someone in your corner that's extremely understanding of your situation. Because if you have a narrow-minded person, that could just make the whole situation stressful. But I also feel like it's good to have someone in your corner, both people, someone in your corner that realizes that there's more than one way to get things done. Everyone has, a lot of people tend to have this mindset of, oh, like, this is the way Jay-Z did things, or
Right.
this is how you get done. This is the way Bill Gates, Warren Buffett did it. So it's like, no, like, there's everyone's journey is different,
Right.
and everyone comes across different obstacles to achieve the same objective.
Right.
So you have to understand that sometimes it may take longer for you to get to achieve something than someone else, but ultimately you're gonna get it done as long as you, like you said, plan things out and stick to that plan.
Right.
It's gonna get done, and as long as you hold each other accountable, it's gonna get done. Because black women don't play.
I don't say to be fearless and to step into that. First, it starts with like self-love. You gotta truly understand who you are as a person and understand what you want in this world. And then once you get to that space, then you have to realize that everything that was created in this world was man-made, except for the organic things, right? Everything else that we deem Macy's, Bloomingdale's, we see these gigantic structures, these organizations, Google, Amazon. We never think of Jeff Bezos first off. We never think of Steve Jobs first off, who's starting in his garage. And it was like, you gotta realize that these are just human beings, just as you. As Biggie said, man, like I don't fear no man because he bleeds just the same way I do. So why am I afraid of trying what he did? He wasn't, and of course he was scared of failing and things like that, but failure is just a learning lesson. It's a stepping stone in finding out, hey, this doesn't work, but I'm gonna try something else.
Right.
And you have to be willing to try. And like I try not to fear things because fear is real.
Sure.
Danger is real. I could fall off a cliff and die, so I can fear heights and stuff like that. But the cliff is real. But me fearing that should not.
Right.
Like just know like there is some danger that can happen along the way, and in proper preparation, the 5 P's, proper preparation prevents poor performance. So if you prepare enough, it eliminates a lot of the man-made fear that we place on ourselves, and then we're able to navigate more. And then also communication, talking to other people, and then challenging yourself, like argue against yourself, like yo, is this the right way? Ask somebody, what do you think about this? Or positive people and insightful people, and that's how you could get past fear and moving past all of these labels.
Well, I want to challenge you real quick and just say like, I believe like fear is real. You feel me? So like, I was scared of shit when I proposed, right? Because like, I didn't think there was no chance of her saying no. But when you in there, you about to do it, it's like, if she say no. And not only that, but just moving forward, we're having the conversations about like starting a family, having the conversations about buying a home. It's just like, things that I've never seen happen in my life by the adults that lived in my life. Like my parents, like we lived in an apartment, grew up in the hood, so it's like I don't know nobody who invested in real estate. So if we try to do that, it's scary as shit. Like it's
So fear is
It's like-
real. Definitely, it is real. But we have a hyper sense of fear, which stops us from doing things. It's like fear is meant to prevent us from
paralysis.
going into
Yeah.
danger. It's like if I see somebody taking out a gun, my adrenaline starts pumping, and that's to protect me. It was like, so I'm not gonna go walk in that same alley that homeboy got the gun. I'm gonna go call the cops, or I'm gonna run, right? But it's meant to do that. But we have this hyper sense of fear. It's like, yo, I see a black man with a hoodie on, I'm not walking down that alley. You don't know that black man just came from working out or something like that, or he came from his office. It's like we put this hyper sense of fear on life, where we're so scared we're not even gonna try something, we're not even gonna think about it. Like, we're just gonna sit in that construct.
And I think when you talked about social media earlier, it wasn't just social media. You had Flex in Brooklyn, on BCAT. You had roller skating ring, maybe down south, and in Brooklyn as well.
Empire.
And yeah, you went in there knowing that, yo, somebody probably got a knife.
Yeah.
Somebody probably got a gun in this party.
Sure.
I'm still going to have fun.
Right.
I'm still going to meet my boys. I'm still going to meet my homegirls, whatever it is, right? And then social media came into the mix. I'm not going to say Instagram just yet. I'm going to say probably YouTube, MySpace, all that. Hypersensitivity. Worldstar, exactly. Hypersensitivity to that fear started to increase. So when it started from school, you may get suspended for starting a fight in the lunchroom or everything, or anything like that. Now it's fake news from Trump or whatever it is, or seeing Eric Gardner choked out or something like that.
Right.
Hypersensitivity to fear increases. So it has increased over the years. That's why they say false evidence appearing real. And it's been increasing.
Right.
So now it's like, how do you, something that's been upregulated, how do you bring it back down? And that self-work that you talk about is so deep, because I'm a person that, I'm going to read books. I'm going to get 3 types of books: information, personal development, or anything that I can utilize. But how many people are willing to do the self-work? Not a lot of people. It's like a group project, but there's nobody in the group for you. And then it's always one person end up doing the project by themselves. So if you can't depend on you, who you want to depend on? And then if you look at a movie called Fences, he never did the self-work, really, if you think about it. He went through trauma, but he never went to go and get help. And then when you get more and more into the movie, and you see that she's supposed to just understand where I'm coming from. No, she's not. You didn't do no work. You didn't go to seminars, you didn't read no books, you didn't talk about it and stuff like that. And you expect her to deal with it. So now you're in fear of everything around you, but you had you put the primary stock into your fear now, which primarily killed them. You know, so.
So we want to close with 2 things that we want each of you guys to say. The first thing is, because I think it's so important for you guys to hear from each other, one thing you do to help you, whether it's with your fear, with your mental, your spiritual, anything that you do on a regular basis that just gets you prayer, workout, whatever, just because that might help people in this room and that could help anybody who sees this video. And then also I want you to affirm something for next year. So, you know, what is it that you're going into next year and you're going to work on, or you know, that is your thing for next year. Okay? You want to start?
So like, I do all those things, like workout and things, but I think one of the more important things, and this is bringing it back to friendships and support groups, is always have people gassing you up. Always get validation from the people who care about you, because at the end of the day, like Tyrell knows, like when I do my vids, I'll send you a vid. I've even done with Levon too before, like I'll send you a vid. What do you think this is funny or not? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? It's like, yo, this is dope, and then boom, I'll post it off the strength of just her liking the vid, like that I probably wouldn't have like done it myself. So I always have people in these support group who know you, even if it's not necessarily always true. Like, you need that validation. You need people to gas you up, because that's what we do to kids. We gas them up even when they be way off. Like, oh, this is that's ugly, whatever they just made. But like, so you gotta gas them up. And then on the second part, in terms of just like affirming, and this is probably for myself, but I know a lot of people struggle with this. Is just like consistency. And whatever it is you're creating, whatever it is you're doing, any type of goal path, nothing, you don't ever reach that finish line as quick as you want to or as effectively as you want to without that consistency, that day in, that day out, that grinding. And so like, I affirm consistency for myself and everyone else here.
Amazing.
I totally agree with you. For me, it's support of, friendship. I talk to my friends all the time. Anytime I have to get their opinions on certain things, you gotta have that support group. Just like you said, gassing you up. Like as well, they need to be real. So they gotta be real. If it's ugly, I need you to tell me it's ugly. So that's very important. And for me, my own personal goal, I guess, I want to get into be more established here in terms of, I want to buy like a brownstone. That's my goal.
Yes, speak it.
Go outlets, home process.
Speaking it existing. My person, so working out is one of my ways to relax, to self-care, take care of myself. And then also, like when I guess become flustered or I have ideas, writing is a big way, as y'all see.
Yes, he got the notebook on deck.
For real, I got the question. But it's a way for me to challenge myself, put the ideas on paper and see what works, see what doesn't. And I like to visualize. I'm a very visual person. So I sit there and I think about it constantly. And then definitely talking to people. I do have a solid group of friends that I could lean on and things like that. And my barbershop has become a space where, I experiment. I talk to guys and get their opinions, see what works, see what doesn't. Was there another question?
Your affirmation for the upcoming year.
Oh, affirmation.
Or goal.
Yeah.
You are a boss. You are a king.
Mm-hmm.
I a lot of times, like at the end of the night, I look in the mirror and I'll talk to myself. I'm like, you can do this. You are doing this. You are strong. You are wise. You're amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I affirm myself. There's been a lot of depressing days. There's some ugly days in the mirror, but it was like, you can do this. You got this.
Love it. Okay.
So how I process through writing and also reading, I feel like just the medium of writing is like where I find myself to be the most honest at. And when I go on tangents, I say the truth in a way that's just like so pure. But I know writing is a little bit more filtered for me. Not filtered, but like a little bit more natural for me because that's how I process. And reading also does so much for me as far as self-care. My favorite writer, James Baldwin, he once said, like, you think you're alone and you're struggling to get pain until you read. Like, you crack open a book and you realize you're not the only one experiencing depression.
Right.
You're not the only one going through these hardships and shit. People have been going through this before you were even born, so it's just like feels good to like read and also write. And my affirmation, it actually comes from an Uber ride I had earlier. Thursday, I took an Uber and I had this really deep conversation with this Uber driver. You ever get the real good Uber drivers? You don't have to hold the conversation, just don't be wasting your time. I really knew how to hold the conversation because I had NBA League Pass and I was going to watch the Warriors game. But I was so engaged in this conversation. He was telling me like some of the keys to life. He said the main key to life is like forget yesterday. Like don't carry yesterday into today and don't worry about tomorrow today. Like execute today. Do what you have to do today. Live your life to the fullest today because if you do die today, you want to make sure you gave these 24 hours the most you have. You gave it everything. And so that's my affirmation going into next year. Forget yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow. Execute today.
Love it.
Can you repeat the first question?
First question was.
It was like, what do you do? Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Alright, great.
I'm like, it's fine.
So some what I do every day, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
To help me,
anything
right?
that really helps you through
Yeah.
life.
I spend a lot of time meditating, and for me, similar to what you said, with I like to like visualize where I want my life and really see it, not just in other words, like I create what I want in my mind for myself, whether it's a goal or whether it's getting rid of certain things or removing myself from toxic friendships or relationships. or like I'll spend a lot of time thinking of. Let's same way you guys envision this, I'll envision that, but like on a grand, like a larger scale, larger scheme, and then I just do my best to each day to take steps to work towards it. So if it's, I'm thinking of getting this done in a month or 2 months, and I'll at least do something on that day that can make it easier for me to get to that. And affirmation, more than ever, I do my best to do it now, but more than ever, just completely just let God lead every aspect.
I love it.
All right, so for me,
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
We follow each
We
other.
definitely do our best to stay in contact.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Thank you.
So, how I process things, calisthenics, like I said earlier, read a lot of reading. So, if somebody asks me a question, I can give them a bit of information, and they can take it from there. Just cascading. My affirmation is that I'm going to maintain a bond with all of y'all.
Yes, speak
And
it.
just strengthen that as best as I can, and like that's going to also take its cascading effect within our communities. And whatever you need me to do, just reach out. If I can, I will. If I can't, I'm gonna find out. Okay.
Love it.
What do I do for myself? I do a lot of things. I work out. And then the thing for me that because I'm not much of a reader, unfortunately. I'm much more of a visual person. So for me, a good thing that really relaxes me, I love to watch movies. Weirdly, it's like, for some reason, movies just make me, they clear my mind. And I think I've come to the realization that it probably clears my mind because it takes me back to feeling like a kid again. And that's when you're a kid, everything just seems so much simpler. And when things seem simpler, it's easier for me, at least, to figure things out, because you're figuring out from an easier perspective. I don't know if I'm saying it clearly. So yeah, but definitely like watching movies helps me like just figure that out, figure whatever obstacles may come my way. A goal that I have for myself, usually I have bigger goals for myself for the next year since I'm getting married. My goal for next year is to really just like make sure everything's planned out as best as I can for this wet next year. And make sure I'm taking the proper steps to really, make sure I'm spiritually, physically, and mentally, even though I am more so mentally ready, but just making sure I'm as mentally ready as I can to be married and take on the responsibilities that come with that.
Amazing. Okay.
Okay, one of the things that I do, which people who follow me on Instagram know I do, is in the morning or whenever I get up, because sometimes it's not always the morning. But whenever I get up, I have a daily devotional book I have beside my bed, and I'll read it. And after I read it, I'll post it on my story. And I don't turn on my TV until after I've cooked breakfast and I've ate and had time with myself. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll be in my apartment doing stuff all day, and I will not turn my TV on until probably like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, because I just like the silence to get my thoughts together. Like I said, they scattered about, so I like the silence to do that. Wish I could go to the gym like some man. I ain't got that motivated. I'm gonna work on that. But I would say one of the things I want to work on for next year is I want to learn how to pour more into myself as I do to other people. That's something I feel like I need to do. I've done a lot. I'm always, when it comes to family and friends, and my friends and family know this, anything that you ask me to do or anything you ask me to be present for, I'm always present for. And they'll do the same thing for me, but sometimes there are times I need to say, hey, I want to be there for you this time, but I can't. I need to take this time for me. So it's more so about learning when to say no into doing those things and put that energy back into myself.
Right. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's so important to hear your views because, like we said, we heard the women of color, but it was so important to hear the men of color. I think you guys go through so many things that people don't even know, and you guys were able to express that. So I thank you again.
Thank you.
And we love you guys. Kings, you are amazing.
Thank you.
And thank you.
And you guys did a great job. You got to the minutes.
Thank you.